All right, here we go. 5-1. 5-1 is mid-segments of a triangle. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about what a mid-segment is. So if you have a triangle, you can kind of hear it in the name, mid being midpoint, and then a segment is the segment that connects those midpoints. So for instance, if I have a midpoint here, and I have a midpoint here, okay, the mid-segment is the line that connects those two. So this is a mid-segment. That line right there. There's what's called the triangle mid-segment theorem, which I'm not going to write all out for you. I'm going to more draw a picture of it. Triangle mid-segment theorem. But the triangle mid-segment theorem says two things about a mid-segment. One deals with how long that segment is in comparison to something else in the triangle. The other one deals more with the orientation, I guess you would say, of the segment. So I want you to look at that picture, this picture up here. I want you to think, what do you suspect might be true of that segment? The red line, the red segment.
It's parallel to the bottom.
It's parallel, right? So that's the first thing. Helps when you do the homework ahead of time, huh? So triangle mid-segment theorem says these two lines will always be parallel, okay? So the one that's in the middle and the one straight across from it that looks like it could be parallel are in fact parallel, okay? So you'll have parallel segments. What do you suppose might be true of the length of it? So this, now it's blue, segment, the length of that in comparison to the length of the one that is parallel to it. Any guesses how their lengths compare?
The top one's half.
It's half as much, right? So basically, if this is x in length, then the bottom one would be 2x in length, okay? So of your parallel segments, one is half the length of the other. Okay, so that's what triangle mid-segment theorem says, is they are parallel, the sides are parallel, and one is half the length of the other side. So you're going to get something like this. Example number 1. And I'm kind of going to combine two examples with the same picture so you don't have to redraw your picture. So really example 1 and example 2 are going to use the same picture. So starting with this, okay, if this is a midpoint, meaning these two are congruent, and this is a midpoint, so these two are congruent, and this is a midpoint, so those two are congruent, you get a mid-segment here, a mid-segment here, and a mid-segment there. So it's really a triangle within a triangle, essentially, the way it looks. You what? Did you say I'm a triangle within a triangle?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. All right, so I'll give you a second to draw that. Here we go. So looking at this picture, can you tell me what would be parallel to FE? We'd say FE is parallel to which segment?
We can't do that.
No, parallel. So they won't. JK, right? FE, this line here, is parallel to JK. So you're looking for which one is the mid-segment, right, to the side opposite it. So it's not touching that other side, right? It's got to be parallel, never going to touch. Okay, so FE and JK are parallel. How about what is parallel to HK? Would be FG, right? This side here is parallel, so HK and FG. And then your third one, what's parallel to EG? So this line here, EG, is parallel to what? To HJ. Okay, so that's one of the things you're going to have to do is just identify the parallel sides. Then once you can identify the parallel sides, that makes example 2 a lot easier, because in example 2, they're going to tell you lengths. So for instance, if I tell you this length here, so from E to F, okay, if that has a length of 60, and this side here, EG, has a length of 100, and HK has a length of 40. Okay, you should be able to tell me the length of every other segment in this picture now. So one's always going to be half as much or double, depending on, yeah, Cameron.
So would FG be 101 or 60?
FG?
Yeah.
What is FG parallel to? HK, right?
40.
But it's not 40. What do you have to do to the 40? You got to double it, right? So whatever the length is, so like this one's 40. So if I double that, oops, I will get this side here, meaning FG would have to be 80, because you're just doubling the 40. Okay, so FG is 80. Okay, now you got to be a little bit careful here. Now if I tell you FE is 60, what is JK?
40.
Not 40.
80.
The side across from it, right? The side that it's parallel to is 60. How does it relate to that side?
So it's 30.
It's half as much, right? So you're going to say JK is half of, 60. So JK would be 30, right? So be careful which way you go, if you're doubling or if you're cutting in half. Cameron.
What would FJ be?
What the heck?
FJ would be 40 because these are equal, right? This FJ and JG are the same. So if the whole thing is 80, like this is 40 and 40. Okay, let me finish this problem and then we'll figure it out. Okay, so you have one left, one side that we don't know, and that's HJ right here. So look at the triangle, figure out which side is parallel to it. Which side would be parallel to HJ? What? EG, okay. So these are your two parallel sides. How long is EG? 100. Okay, so if EG is 100, then HJ is half of that, right? The side that's parallel to it is half as much or double, depending on which way you're going. Just look at which one's the shorter one, okay? So half of 100 means that's going to be 50.
What?
Okay, so this right here is 50.
So basically, when we find the lines that are parallel and whatever measurement they give us, it's half of that.
Depending on what they give you, right? Because on this first one, on this one here, they gave you the shorter one. So then the longer one
So it would just
is double. So you're either cutting it in half or you're doubling it. You just got to look at which segment do you have.
will they give us decimals or negatives?
Maybe, but not like crazy decimals, like 10.5, you know, like
So
a half.
If they give us the small side of the triangle and it's a decimal, do we just
You double
multiply
it,
by 2?
times 2. Yep. Okay? Hey, put that away.
I have Bible homework. Let me just check.
check later.
Are these are T, V, and TU parallel?
No, because they meet at T, right?
Right.
So it's HD is parallel to TU. HE is parallel to VU.
So TE would be 40?
What'd they tell you? HD is 80.
Yeah.
If HD is 80, then this whole side is 160. So this would be 80 and 80 because they're the same length.
Right.
Right?
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so let's look at this one. Oh, sorry for the line. I was just trying to move things around. There we go. Okay, look at this with me. This one might look a little bit simpler because there's not all the lines in it. So mid-segment, because these are all congruent. If I tell you this is x minus 1, and this is 52. Actually, take it back. Don't do x minus 1. I'm going to do, let's do 2x and 52. Okay? Think about the relationship here. What do you know lengthwise about the mid-segment and the longer segment? Which one's half? The little one is half as much as the big one, right? So what can I do to 2x so that it equals 52? Because you don't want to just set them equal, right? They're not the same length. You can look at the picture and see one is definitely shorter than the other. What do? Divide what? Okay, so you have two options, right? You could cut the 52 in half and say that 2x has to equal half of 52. What's the other way you could do it? If we don't cut the 52 in half, what do we got to do to the 2x? You'd have to double it, right? You have to multiply by 2. So you can either solve that first equation, 2x equals half of 52, or you could just double the 2x and call it 4x equals 52. What you need to know is you're going to get the same answer regardless. So pick one or the other. Don't do both. Don't double one and cut the other one in half because then you have a weird setup, right? But you need to either double this mid-segment or cut in half the bigger one, okay? So if we do that, one sec, Cameron, 2x equals 26 here, right? Half of 52 is 26, and then divide by 2. So x would be 13. I cut 52 in half, half of 52, half of the long line, right? Or if we did it the other way, if we multiplied this top one by 2, so 2 times 2x equals 52 is 4x equals 52. If we divide by 4, 52 divided by 4 is 13. So notice it doesn't matter if you double or cut in half because you're going to get the same thing, right? Those are the same answer. You just need to pick which one makes the most sense to you. Okay, Cameron?
So if it was 5 and 45, the x wouldn't be 9, it would be 10.
It was 5x for the shorter segment?
Yeah.
So you would make it 10x
Yeah.
equals whatever they gave you, which was 45?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, any questions on that? All right, let's do one more. Let's say, let's say this is our setup. Okay, you have 20 for the mid-segment, and you have 5x for the longer one. Which one would have to get doubled? The 20, right? So you could say 5x equals, and then double the shorter segment, 2 times 20. So you're basically saying 5x equals 40, and then you're dividing by 5, so x would be 8. Make sense? Cameron?
So what would we do if they gave us like 5x minus 4 for 1 and then a singular number?
Yeah, give me that problem.
Wait, I thought it was 1
this is half, right? So you either have to cut this one in half, the 5x, or you have to double this one. Well, to cut 5x in half, you're going to get 2.5, which is fine. You can do it that way, but then you have decimals. So most people would just prefer to double this one instead. Okay? Okay, what is it?
For the long side, it's 5x minus 4.
Okay.
And then for the shorter side, it's 8.
Is this a homework problem?
Yeah. Okay, so let's think about what you would do with this. What's the relationship?
They both involve 4s.
They do both involve 4s. How do they relate to each other? Like what do we know about the length of the one compared to the length of the other? After we do this.
The 8 is smaller.
The 8 is smaller, so we have to do what with it?
Multiply.
We have to multiply it by 2, right? So we're going to double this one. So 5x minus 4 is equal to 2 times that 8 segment,
Okay.
right? So then when you solve that, you get 5x minus 4 equals 16. You're going to add 4.
Oh, and then
So 5x equals 20, and then divide by 5. So x would be 4. What number was that, Cameron?
22.
22. That's 22 in your homework if you're unsure on number 22. Okay? Any questions?
Sorry, 24.
Yes. Oh, 24.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. All right. That is it. That is 5-1.